right, here's where we left off earlier with those the color inlay on those stamps, and now this is all dry. So I have my sponge, and I suppose I could move this over a little bit, and you can see that I have my water here. And normally I do this by the sink so I can keep rinsing out and getting fresh water in here so it's not dirty. And what I'm going to do here is squeegee it out. You know what? Let's put my water up here so we can all see what I'm doing. There we go. And I'm going to squeeze really, really hard. And now wipe this off. Make sure it's not wet, not too wet, because the water will end up getting in there. You can see how these are, it even stays dry down and in there. I love it. So again, this is how to get the color to stay in those stamped lines. Dig it. I'm going to rinse out all the brown that I just took out. And again, this is why I kind of do this by a sink so that I can rinse this under fresh water. And then I'm going to take off all of the brown that came over into the edge as best I can. A little bit really isn't going to matter, but there we go. And that's how to get your color into your stamped lines. All right, so that one is done. I may go back now and add paint my edges a nice solid brown just to echo the pattern in here. I can paint maybe just the edges brown, however I want to do it. But now I'm ready for that. And let's see how this one turns out. The stamp on this one, it was a, what do you call it, a doily. So I'm not sure whether or not it was really stamped in well, but that's okay. Oh, yep, look at that. I love it. You can still see what I'm doing. Okay. I'm not trying to over rub it. Notice how I keep switching to a clean side. Perfect. Look at how that color stays inside those impressions. I love it. And once this gets too dirty and all I'm doing is spreading glaze around, I definitely want to clean it out and maybe have some clean water. There we go. And you can see that orange. I like to use blue and orange because they're complementary colors. I turn it. Remember, squeeze all that water out. Oh, I can. I was going to do the edge, wasn't I, earlier? Okay, let's take this part off now. And all that excess water needs to come out of here. We're going to try to just keep our sponge on the surface here so that everything else stays. But we got to clean up all of this. Do you see how this is all dirty right in here? So it's not dirty, it's just got glaze on it. So you still need to clean off. There we go. Perfect. It's looking so good. This is going to be a beautiful contrast between orange and blue. We got our Fighting Illini colors going on. I love it. You can take off as much as you want, as little as you want. You can keep rubbing, rubbing, rubbing. You can even take some more off down into those inlay areas if you want, by getting a little wet and trying to sponge it up. Perfect. Cool. I love it. I am going to go get some clean water in a little bit, though, and do that. Our next video is going to be on applying the glaze, but before we do that, I do want to maybe paint my edges here. I say paint, I should say glaze. I want to glaze my edges. This is going to be dry again soon, but I'm going to glaze these edges blue to kind of echo this color here, and we're going to be good to go. So again, that is how to remove and the glaze that you put in those inside those stamps, and clean off just the surface. I never pushed too hard. I did push firm enough, but this is really, see, I can squeeze this and no water's coming out. No water's coming out, so that's how dry it is. All right, on to the next video of, I am gonna go back and now glaze. I should do that now while we're still here. I like to paint the edges. Now that this is clean, I like to finish off the work here. Let's move that back. Here we go. Oops, there's a chunk in there. It's okay, I'll just put it over there. Or you can smooth it out, it doesn't matter. And let's say you don't like the color that you ended up using. Well, guess what, everybody? Take your sponge, just wipe it off. All right? You can clean up that way also. So you're never really making a mistake with ceramics or with this glazing part. You can always go back and correct it. You've all seen the other video and what I do with the edges, so I don't need to do too much of this. I do want to bring this down a little bit here. Now, my question is am I going to come over to this edge also? Sometimes I like a little bit of contrast. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes we'll see what that looks like. I can always wipe it off if I don't like it. Yeah, that's not too bad. I don't mind that. All right, so I'm going to go around this, and I'm not going to do it all in the video because, you know, there's no need to. And unfortunately, this one cracked, dried out a little too fast on the edge. A little fissure started here, a little crack started there. And then in the kiln, got stressed out even more. And the crack just ran all the way across it. But that's okay. It's just my demonstration for y'all. So I don't mind. But I do want to demonstrate. Please, again, notice how this tiny little cup of glaze is lasting me a really long time, isn't it? It's covering a lot of surface area. And that's because this underglaze has so much pigment in it. Part of what makes it the expensive part of clay. I guess the other expensive part is the kiln itself and the amount of electricity it takes, which is why I like to wait until I have a bunch of projects from kids ready to fire before I turn it on. I don't like firing one project at a time because I think it's just kind of a waste of energy and electricity. So we wait until we have more than one to fire, and we just have to be patient. Such is life. Okay, good. I said I wasn't going to make you watch this, didn't I? And then here I go. But still, again, look at how much underglaze is left. It's amazing how far this goes. Get that out of the way. And then, of course, I'm going to go back over to, I'll let this layer dry. We'll do our shiny glaze layer last once this dries. I'll show you how that's done. All right, so I've got my edges done. I've got that done. We'll wait for this to dry, but I like how that looks. It echoes the inside there. Let's put this one aside. And then you all know what I was doing with the other one. My plan for this one was to paint, there I go again saying paint, because I'm grabbing a paintbrush, so I'm saying paint, but it's not painting, it's glazing. Y'all know I'm gonna glaze just the edge here to kind of echo my design. So it's up to you where you want to add color, where you don't want to add color, where you want to scrape away. Sometimes kids go, oh man, I scraped away too much color. And I go, well, that's kind of cool. It looks a little vintage. You know, I dig it. Not everything is in life is perfect. So let's get used to that. You know, and especially something as organic as working with clay. Not always perfect. Get over here, glaze. There we go. But I really like how this line is going to kind of accent what's going on in the middle there. And it's kind of a more geometric circle to contrast our organic doily over there. That pattern on the inside there. Again, a little goes a long way. I say it a lot because I will be collecting these little 2-ounce cups from you again. Whatever you don't use, I need back because we are on a super strict budget this year, everybody. Super strict budget. It's the COVID budget. So we gotta make do and save our resources. All right. I dig it. What do you think? I can't hear you. I'm talking to myself. I'm talking into a camera right now. All right. There's another 10-minute video. We're at 9:42 right now. Perfect. Look it over, see if there's any spots I need to go back to. Again, most of the time you only need one layer of this, But I'm going to go back to see if it's thin in any spots and just kind of touch it up. Hit it one more time. That was kind of a little bald spot there. Let's get back in here. Yeah, to glaze or not to glaze that part right there. I think it should have been glazed. Help make it look a little more smooth. It's like a Midwestern goodbye. It takes an hour to get out of the door. I keep telling you guys I'm going to let you go, and then here I am still. All right. I'm going to set these aside now and dry. But this, my friends, how we do. Clean up the inlays and then add accents wherever we need to. These are the two projects that we're working on right now. And I'm going to put my lid back on this because I'm going to be good and return what I don't use to the art room. Perfect. Set that aside for now. And we're going to let that dry and we'll come back and we will do our final layer of glaze. Okay, thank you. Email me with any questions.